Good evening. This is All Sports with LD coming back at you with another YouTube post from my YouTube channel. Before I get started, please like, subscribe, share, and comment. Man, this was a great fight. From the beginning, as I watched the fight, starting from round one, Charlo was in complete control. He used his jab, feints, footwork. He kept the fight in the center of the ring. Even when Castellano tried to trap him on the ropes or his back touched the ropes, he would immediately clinch Castellano and walk him to the middle of the ring, and again, using his jab up the middle, and then also jabbing down to the body. In stanzas, he used combinations, and Castellano started to come on a little bit, starting to land shots. And even though Castellano was landing those shots, Charlo was actually countering him with rise or counter lefts, and those were power punches, which ultimately had an effect on Castellano. You can see it throughout the fight, from rounds 1 to the final round. And now, although the commentators are saying the fight was even, I don't think the fight was even up to the 7th round, which is when they say Charlo took over. In my opinion, Charlo controlled the entire fight. He was winning. I maybe gave Castellano maybe 2 rounds up until the point of the stoppage. But yeah, Castellano got off some great shots. He caught Charlo, with some great punches. But it was the power punching of Charlo and the jab and the combinations which wore Castellano down. And as I'm watching the fight, there were a few times where Charlo hurt Castellano, but he didn't follow up. He was patient, still working his game plan, shooting the jab, giving the angles. When it seemed like Castellano would trap on the ropes, he would pivot, corner, and come out of the off the ropes, get back to the center of the ring, jab. Even sometimes Castellano would call him the ropes, and he would throw his combination, but he would miss a lot of those shots. Charlo would counter. So this happened throughout the fight. And so ultimately, as Castellano began to slow, Charlo stayed poised, stayed on his game plan, using his jab combinations, setting up the counters whenever Castellano would throw, and getting caught with big shots. And finally, in the 10th round, in where they were both exchanging, and you saw Charlo hitting with the left hook, another left counter hook, and it was a delayed response. Castellano goes down. So when he got up, he was on steady legs. I said, yeah, this is over. And I saw it leading up to him unleashing that left hook to the side of Castellano's face. And when the referee gave his 8 count, Charlo immediately threw a jab, threw a straight left, and then which snapped Castellano's head back, then threw the left hook to the body. Castellano goes down, fight's over. It was very impressive. Although I didn't see the first fight, clearly Charlo made some adjustments this fight, which, as I watched the fight, Castellano seemed sort of befuddled, sort of confused by the style that he was facing. I think he probably expected Charlo to stand and trade with him for most of the fight, but there were times he did, but other times he moved around. uses great footwork, and I think that befuddled Castellano, along with the jabs, the 1-2 combination, the jab to the body that counters. He set him up with as he put his back to the ropes. And, so it was just an all-around great performance by Charlo. Clearly, after the first fight, he looked at that fight, went through training, and improved on some different things and adjust on some different things. One of the things that they talked about was, in the midst of Castellano throwing his punches, he left himself wide open for counters. And that's exactly what you saw all night, all fight long. When Castellano would throw his combination or body shots, he left himself open. Charlo was countering him all night long, and those were power shots he was hitting Castellano with, and ultimately which wore him down. As the fight wore on, you can see Castellano becoming slower and slower until finally he unleashed that left hook. So it was a great fight. Hats off to Castellano. He came to fight. He gave it his all, but it wasn't enough because Charlo is just a better boxer. And this time, Charlo used his boxing skill to get the knockout that he was looking for. And it's a textbook example of how you use your jab, your angles, your footwork, your combinations to set up those power shots. And Charlo did all of that. Again, it was a great performance. Hats off to both men. The fans got, what they came for. It was a great outing, great for boxing. Shout out to Jaron Ennis. I was impressed with his fight as the co-feature. He looked very good. He used his jab. It was a power jab. So he threw great combinations. He switched from southpaw to orthodox very fluidly. And it was just a great performance. He was a very good work rate. Didn't allow his opponent to get off really any real shots, really anything to be threatened with. And it was a total domination, and he set the jab up and threw that overhand right, and so it was lights out. So shout out to Jaron Ennis. I was very impressed with his performance. With that performance, makes him the #1 IBF contender. We'll see if Earl Spence and Crawford gets it on. Perhaps Jaron Ennis gets the winner of Crawford and Spence. That's all I have for now. Until next time, have a good one.